Story time. This has been my first year in preschool with a class of my own, teaching alongside another queer neurodivergent educator, and we have been rocking our TU's class. We've been talking about gender and skin color and consent and empathy and our bodies and autonomy. It's been fabulous. But our teaching team is shifting and a new person is being onboarded, someone with many years of experience. So today at the lunch table, when the topic of gender and genitals came up, one of our students plainly looked up and said, "Well, I'm a girl today, but I know that teacher Co isn't. No, they're NB." And the look on the incoming teacher's face was priceless. She was shocked in a good way, and she just looked around at the two of us and said, "This class is incredible, and I am so impressed."
I need a glossary to understand what in the world she's talking about with this made-up gobbledygook language. Yes, that woman who was squealing in celebration of teaching, I mean, it's like bad Lewis Carroll, right? Is in charge of a preschool with preschool kids. So we need to continue to fight back against this kind of stuff. So one person doing just that is former Kansas Secretary of State Kris Kobach, who is here with us now. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Good to have you with us. I think that is, if there is a silver lining, which is kind of difficult to say after the past year and a half of lockdowns, it's that parents really got an eyeful of exactly what their kids were learning, exactly what was in their curriculum, what their teachers were telling them. And now we're having this kind of tug of war over influence of our kids as everyone's going back to in-classroom learning. Talk a little bit about what you're doing in your efforts to stop this and give parents some more tools to push back against this.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. I'm working as General Counsel of the Alliance for Free Citizens, and people can go to the website at allianceforfreecitizens.org. And what we're doing is drafting, and we have drafted, model state legislation, which anyone watching your show can download from the website and then email or call up or even send it to your state legislator. Because we've seen several school districts where parents have risen up and said, "Hey, this is nonsense. I don't want my kids taught this basically dressed up form of racism known as CRT, or don't want to be taught these wildly strange things like we just saw now about your kid can be whatever gender he or she wants to be today." So parents are trying to do something, and some have risen up at the school district level. But really, if we want to stop this in a much broader way, the appropriate place to do it is at the state legislature, because state legislatures in just about all 50 states have the authority to put some boundaries on curriculum. And so there is a bill that we have on our website, and people, as I say, people can download it about we call it the TRUE Act, TRUE, which is specific to critical race theory, which is another one of these outlandish ideas that these woke teachers are trying to force down the throats of our kids.
Yes, it's institutionalized Marxist racism with critical race theory. The CRT, it really is teaching division, and it's in a reimagination of American history with the 1619 Project, that the New York Times was promoting. It's not actually teaching kids, and this isn't real education. It's training for advocacy. I think that's probably a better way to put it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's replacing history with ideologically charged leftist notions that are sprinkled into history inaccurately. And then the kids are taught you have to judge people by the color of their skin. And if someone's skin is white, that person is an oppressor. If someone's skin is not white, they are oppressed, and they should be treated differently. And people should be made to pay for the sins of other people of the same skin color 200 years ago. And other people should be rewarded. It's a ridiculous notion that is replacing actual history. I mean, before this crazy CRT thing started, our kids were already lamentably ignorant of our history because our public schools have been failing in that regard for decades. Now they're replacing what little history instruction is left with this garbage.
Yeah, of course, and it's not. I can't even imagine how the academic measure of that, what that's going to look like, or really the emotional stability of kids who are kind of. I think it's like emotional abuse to teach students this. Did it shock you to see kind of the big tent of people who found common ground against this? Because I've heard from some Democrats, and I mean, obviously, people who are conservative and Republican, but I've heard from Democrats and people who are just kind of independent. It feels as though the far left has no idea, or the left has no idea how to counter this because of that unity. It's so bad that parents everywhere are in opposition to it. Did that kind of surprise you, the way that there was no really counter to the pushback?
Well, it sort of did at first, Dana, but then I thought about it some more and realized, all of us, if we have children, we are parents first, and we are political activists or, politically involved people second. Our kids are the most important thing. And so I think many, Democrats, mainstream Democrats, are saying, look, I want my kids to learn history. I understand when they go to college, they may want to come up with some theories about what really happened or didn't happen in some period in history, but let's at least get the basics learned, and let's not try to manipulate my children by teaching things that just have nothing to do with the history that they should be learning. So I think people are parents first, Democrats and Republicans second.